Okay, so we're going to try this again. I tried doing this a month or so ago, and it just really wasn't working out. I was struggling a little bit trying to get everything squared away the way it needed to be done. So we're going to give it another shot. This time, hopefully it works. We're making homemade dog food. Now, I struggled a lot online trying to figure out and see what other people had going on, and there wasn't a whole heck of a lot out there. So we're going to give it our best shot right now, give you guys some content on what to put in your food, what you can put in your food, what I put in my food. You're going to want to do your own checking to double make sure and triple make sure that what you're using is okay for your dogs. Consult your vet, consult a professional. I'm not a professional. I just do this, and my dogs absolutely love it. They're currently laying right behind my feet at the moment here in the kitchen. So they like it. They know what's coming. They know what I'm doing. And there are some things protein-wise that you're not going to want to use. And those are going to be pork from the store. Everything you're going to find online is going to say, limited quantities or in moderation. Well, of course, everything's going to be in moderation, because if me sitting on the couch is eating a whole bag of jelly beans, that's probably not going to be very good for me. Well, a dog just eating only one thing or a lot of one thing, like a lot of apples, isn't going to be good for them, or a lot of beets, or a lot of protein of any source. It's not going to be good. So variety is your best friend. And if you go on the AKC website, you can search for a food list that dogs of fruits, vegetables, and protein sources that dogs can have. It will also give you the option to click the link. Watson, stop it. To go to a site that will help you create a list, recipe list. Watson, stop it. I'm trying to talk, sir. Watson. Obviously, he's full of energy. He's excited about stuff. He's just turned 1 last week, so he's got a lot of P and V in him. So, and he's a big boy. But anyways, you go on the AKC website. You can search for a list of quality sources for food, vegetables, fruits, proteins. They do have that link to a different site that'll help you create a recipe list. They are going to tell you that you need to buy this product to add into your dog food. Stop it. He's very talkative. You don't have to do that. You just need to make sure that you're not missing anything. So they need calcium, and they need iron, and they need zinc, and everything, vitamin A, vitamin B, vitamin D, all that, vitamin E. You need to make sure that you're getting that to them. You don't have to buy somebody else's product to put in with the dog food. You just need to make sure that the sources of food you're putting in to give them have these quantities, and have these necessary nutrients in there. Eggshells are good for calcium, or bone meal if you have a grinder capable of that. Sir, stop it. Hold on a minute. Okay, so I had to put them out. He's attacking his sister, and he just won't stop. He's super excited. So he's a very vocal individual, and super excitable, super happy boy. So, which is good to a certain point. Anyways, you need to make sure that what you're putting in has the nutrients that your dog needs. If you do need to buy or put extra nutrients in, different vitamins and minerals, consult a vet, a dietitian, an animal dietitian would be your best bet to get exactly what you need and for the exact weight and the breed and everything that you have going on. I don't feed strictly homemade food at the moment. I do about 50-50 mix with a dry kibble. Everybody's got their own personal preference. I just seen a news bulletin about another dog food manufacturer having salmonella and something else issue on a recall. I've seen, metal fragments, recalls. Salmonella seems to be a big one, even with human foods. You're going to get that. And I'm not going to say you're not going to have it with your own homemade stuff, depending on how you are and how you operate. But let's get down to business. I typically use, you don't want to use pork from the store, like I was saying. A couple of things. They can have it. That really needs to be limited. You can use farm pigs if you have a farm, hobby farm, or whatever. But you're going to want to you don't want any additives in your meat. That's the big thing. If you're trying to do your own dog food, clean, healthy ingredients, you don't want to be buying some processed crap from the store, right? Also, I've read some forums. Not very many dogs will eat raccoons. My 3 will not. Cooked or raw, they will not eat it. So you're going to see some postings on the forums that they've had dogs for God knows how long, and they've never had an issue with their dogs not eating raccoons. Now, coon dogs, on the other hand, most postings on coon dogs, coon hounds, if you're using them to hunt coons, they'll more than likely eat them, but they're going to have to be cooked, okay? And they say to boil the crap out of them. Go for it. I tried that. I caught one last year. I had it in the freezer for a couple months. I ran out of beaver. I tried that, and they would not eat it. They wouldn't eat it raw. They spit it out, looked at me like I was stupid. And after I cooked it, they took it, walked away. They wouldn't eat it. So they just looked at me again like what I gave them was something foreign and it was not edible. So here's the three animals so far that wild animals that I use. One of them I'm going to cut up here, show you guys kind of what you're looking at. So beaver is a big one. Watson, my vocal boy, he's got a little bit more of a sensitive stomach, so the beaver works out way better for him. Versus venison, I do get roadkill venison. If you are getting any roadkill out of season or during season, especially with big game animals, you need to contact your Department of Natural Resources, your Wildlife Management Department, Forest Service, whatever it is in your location that has jurisdiction over the animals, and figure out if you need to get a tag for that animal or not as a roadkill. That's on you to do. It's not on anybody else. If you do get stopped and you do have a roadkill in your vehicle and you don't have the proper documentation stating that you have obtained it legally, that could be big fines for you. Don't want to do that. We're trying to save money and be healthier for animals. So don't be accruing these fines. It's easy to make a phone call. They have never had any issues on my end doing that. They just give me a tag and we're good to go. That's for venison. Right now I got a porcupine because I'm out of beaver. Beaver trapping doesn't open for another month. And Watson he's just a sensitive boy. So we're going to try that. All 3 dogs will eat this raw. They have no issues with it. So skin the animal, gut the animal, keep the animal clean. Wash them, whatever you got to do. Now, if you look up for porcupines, if dogs can eat porcupines online, everything's going to say no because of the quills. Well, obviously, I'm not feeding them the hide and the quills, okay? This is my porcupine. There's no hide, no quill, no hair on this animal whatsoever, right? It's just a carcass, okay? Nothing there. It's all meat and bone matter. Now, eventually, I will have a grinder, a large bone grinder, okay? So there is a difference between small and large bones, all right? You are going to want Your regular meat grinder, it'll say, is just fine. You can use that. It's not going to hold up as long, especially if it's got plastic gears in it. A lot of grinders out there right now have plastic gears. I have one. I've had it for about 6 years now. It is a Cabela's 1/4 horsepower meat grinder. It's a meat grinder. It's got plastic gears. It struggles even doing frozen, super frozen chunks of meat. I can't run it through there. Or partially frozen chunks of meat. It won't do it. It pops the gears off. All right, there's a retaining clip on the drive gear. Pops that gear off, and the clip and the gear come out. Then I got to take it apart and put it together. So they do make, it's commercial grade. You're going to have to get a commercial grade if this is what you want to do. But if you get one, which is my plan, is all of this here is usable for dog food, okay? The bones, everything. You're going to get your calcium, you're going to get a lot of your minerals, vitamins, everything out of this. The bone structure, skeletal structure. That's going to keep you from having to buy supplements to put in here. So that's the whole goal, is to not be putting stuff in that we don't know about. Where it came from, where the processing facility is, who made it, what recall's coming. Okay? Fat content is a big thing when you're doing this. So obviously they need fat. They don't need a lot of fat. Dogs don't process food the way humans process food. They don't use it the same way. So, well, I mean, they use it the same way, but they just don't absorb things the same way on a necessary level. So you want to keep your fat content down. If you got big chunks of fat, take them out. This is a roadkill porcupine. I did not shoot this one. I've been looking for one to shoot, but fortunately I can't find one. So anyways, back to the grinder. That's probably going to be your best bet. Then you can just chunk this up so it fits through the feed tube of your grinder, and you just grind the whole carcass. Make a paste out of it. A puree, not a puree, but what the heck, a pate. That's what I'm looking for. If you guys have cats at all, you know, there's pate or gravy, or chunks with gravy, or bits and gravy, or whatever. You're looking at making a pate. Then you don't have to worry about the bones in the dog's system. They're ground up fine, and they're not going to pose a threat, a choking hazard, or intestinal blockage, or perforation of the gut wall. So that's probably the most efficient. And then you're looking at getting more quantity in your protein side than what you're going to do if you just cut it up like I'm doing right now. So I'm just looking at bite-sized chunks, kind of. You know, dogs got a big mouth, they'll suck down some pretty big things. But I cook everything, so it's clean. Yes, it's roadkill, but it's clean. I washed, you know, rinsed it off, took care of it, kept it cold, and till I could, you know, do this, cut it up, and can it. So I pressure can everything. It's going to last the longest for me. It's the easiest for everybody in my household to feed the dogs with. We're not doing anything raw. It does not make sense to do anything raw because you have a larger chance of bacterial growth on raw, and I don't have the freezer space to keep that much raw material for them. We got other things going on. So canning. Get yourself a pressure canner. Read the instructions. It's going to be your best friend. And like me, I don't have any issues. I go through what Watson eats. He eats a quart of this a day, a pint for breakfast and a pint for dinner. And then my two girls, Basil and Callie, eat, a half a quart a day each. So I go through 2 quarts a day. This is not going to make that much for me to have to worry about shelf life. Okay, I'm going to get maybe a week for Watson out of this, and then I got some roadkill deer that I got to cut up too for the girls. And all the vets that I've talked to, the venison, they said, is probably your best option, just because of it. It's lean. The fat content's really low for you. You don't have to worry too much about it. You're doing this too, venison and everything else. You need to make sure you get all the glands and stuff out. Okay, don't be feeding your animals all that. They don't need the reproductive organs. They don't need the glands, any scent glands or anything like that. That's just not healthy for them. There can be foreign bodies in there that hurt them. So you're not going to eat it. Don't feed it to them. And yes, I would eat this porcupine if I had to or needed to. So beaver and venison and porcupines are my big food animals for the dogs. And so we're going to get a lot of beaver trapping in this fall. I'll get you guys some footage on that. That's kind of the direction things are going. Saves me money, especially having the 3 mutts. They really go through a lot of food. So this is, I don't know if it's helped yet because I had to get the pressure canner, and I had a bunch of jars, but you're buying lids, so for canning, so you got to take that in consideration when you're looking at, $4, $5, $6 for a dozen lids for your jars. The cost does add up. You're always going to have it, but to me, it's cheaper than buying bags of dog food at $70 plus a bag. So, and it's healthier for them. So keep your price down if you can. Obviously, I have 3. It's expensive to feed them. It's a lot of time. This is a lot of time. This isn't something you want to jump into and be like, oh yeah, I'll just, I can spend a day, I'll make dog food and I'll be good for the next 6 months. Not in this household. Maybe for your dog, but I don't know what size it is. Mine range anywhere from 70, 80 pounds to 40 pounds. I think Basil's 40. She's my little peanut. Not a very big girl, but she eats more than my big girl. So different breeds take different amounts of food, and then their activity level also. So I have 2 purebred wire hairs, and they like to eat, but they also have super high energy levels, and that's what I'm trying to take care of, combat with this food. Is a good quality food for their high energy, and they love it. They do really well, and I don't have any issues with them being sick. They're not losing teeth, they're not losing hair, they're not having discoloration or they're gassy. All dogs are gassy, but they're less gassy on this, so I'm thinking it's the processed food that I'm buying. And I've tried a couple different brands and a couple different flavors, and eventually I want to go to an all homemade diet for them and see if that solves the problem. So Um, that's the plan. That's the direction. We'll see how far we get. Yeah, so I'm just trying to get as much off of this critter as I can so he's not wasted at all. Going through all this effort, might as well not waste anything that I can help. So if I had the grinder, it'd be a lot less. But pressure can it. Everything's going to say it's better canned or better cooked for your dogs. It's easier to digest. Vegetables. Most of your vegetables are going to be cooked, they say, for digestion. They're going to say a lot of them are going to cause or can cause intestinal irritability. It can, but then again, that's why you don't feed them all the same thing and you don't feed them a whole heck of a lot of it. So, balanced diet. And what else we got? Muskrats would work out good for this. I do have a bunch of squirrels that the neighbor boy trapped this summer out of the garden. Those would probably be just fine. Seems like the dogs really like the rodents. And that's all right because they're easier to get year-round than most anything else, and it's cheaper, and they just keep coming. So yeah, these are the things we do in the off time when we're not out trying to make money. So I'm gonna get this going, get this cut up, and then I gotta go get that part of that deer, cut that up, and then we'll come back with some canning steps and quantities and how I put all that together. Show you guys what I use. All right, so we're back. Got that porcupine cut up. Took about 45 minutes to do that. So this ain't no bearded butcher workshop here, but you know, we make it happen. Takes a little bit longer, but if you've ever tried cleaning a rodent, they're way different than a deer or a cow. They got a lot more ins and outs on their spinal, and I take all the meat out of the ribs, everything off the neck as much as I can get. I know this is not perfect, but there's not a lot of meat left on there. But if I did have that grinder, all of this they'd eat because I could grind this all and get the, I don't know, what would I get, maybe 2 to 3 pounds of bone meal out of that to put in with what we have here. So, which is about, I don't know, maybe 10 pounds. This was a full adult porcupine. It was a female. Again, this was a roadkill. I did not kill this animal. Watson! No! Every single time anybody goes to talk, they're just like toddlers. They gotta make noise. But yeah, so that's the waist on a complete, full-grown female porcupine. Not a lot of meat on them. Get a lot more meat off the same size beaver. So, and beaver get a lot bigger, which is nice too. But beaver, honestly, are a little bit harder to clean. They're even worse than these guys. So, pick your poison. This isn't easy. This is time consuming, but the rewards are good. So, you just gotta choose your poison. Pick what you want to do. Do you want to make dog food or do you want to buy dog food? If you're buying dog food, you're going to work. So the time's the same, but here I'm at home and I can yell at my dogs. So it makes it even that much better some days. All right, so I'm going to get this part cleaned up, and then start hacking up some deer. Deer's a lot quicker, so I'll get this cleaned up, and then I'll sort of pull the deer out, and then we'll see where you guys are at. All right. A lot of you are probably wondering, well, why'd you do the porcupine first? And you didn't clean all the blood up, and whatever. Reason being is Basil and Callie don't have an issue on their stomach. They seem to be able to eat whatever just fine. So I do Watson's first, and then I can use the same stuff without having to clean everything out and douche it all out really good to do theirs. So he goes first. The girls come later. This just saves me time, effort, and that's why. As you can see, big chunks of fat. Get them out. Watson, get your nose out of there. I don't know if you guys seen him, but he's trying. So this is the rib cage of a deer, white-tailed deer here in Minnesota. Again, roadkill. Just been in the freezer. I just thawed it out today. So for this, we'll get this brisket part cut off. Just kind of get some stuff together. So yes, we will get to putting some food together. Just hang in there. Make sure you call, see if they want you to get a tag. Don't just be picking stuff up and running away. It could get you into trouble. We don't want that. That's not what we're about. So, yeah. You guys are probably going to ask, what knives? These are just old Chicago cutlery steak knives that have been in the family for God knows how long. That end up coming to me after people pass, or they just don't want them anymore because they upgraded. So they work great. There's nothing wrong with them. So we use them for this. So I'm going to get this cut up. I got a few back sections in there between the rib cage and the pelvis to cut up also. And then we will start canning stuff, and I'll get you some measurements and all that fun, happy stuff. All right, back to cutting. Aha. I think maybe we'll get a few things going here. All right. So as you can see, the deer is cleaned up. The porcupine is cleaned up. The rice here, I got the porcupine here because we're going to do Watson's first. Remember, we do his stuff first, and then we don't have to worry about washing dishes in the middle. Porcupine for Watson, rice. I know it does have some dye in there because it was leftovers from last time. And this has beets in it, my vegetable and fruit mix. And when I thawed them out, the bags had holes in them. I had them together in the same bowl, thawing out, and the juice from the vegetables ran into the bag with the juice, or with the rice, and colored my rice a little bit. It's not a big deal. It's just rice. They're going to eat that juice anyways over here mixed with that in a second. So that's why the rice ain't just white. But I use plain white rice. I get the cheap rice. It was like $11 for 25 pounds or something. Yeah, or $5 for 25 pounds. It's just white rice. Keep the cost down. That's what we're after. Plain rice. You don't want anything, like you can get sushi rice or basmati rice or whatever you want to use for rice. But white long grain rice, plain, nothing added, it's just fine. This vegetables is celery, carrots, beets, broccoli. There might be some lettuce in there. Looks like there's some bell peppers in there. I can't remember what's all completely in here, but so those are some of the things that I use mainly. Yep, there's some lettuce in there. Broccoli, do not use the florets, just use the stems. You can use the leaves, but I would keep that to a minimum. Remember, the more iron you put in their diet, and the more leafy greens you put in their diet, the more poop you're going to have, and it's going to be looser. So, just a word of caution. There are beets in there. Beets are good if you look at any of the dog foods out there. It does have beet root in it. But the bigger variety, the better you can have. So you keep getting the nutrients that the dog needs because they're going to be in all these other different things. So we got vegetables, we got rice, we got porcupine for Watson. Here is pulverized eggshells in this for calcium. Would you two stop? I'm talking again and you're dicking off. I swear, those two. And it's the wire hairs. It's Watson and Basil. Oh no, Watson's got his pillow. He's going to show me. He's all happy. So anyways, pulverized eggshells. Put them in a mortar and pestle. Get them crushed up nice and fine. Powderize them. And I got some canned pumpkin this time. Pumpkin is like the miracle ingredient for canines. If their stool is loose, give them a little bit of pumpkin. It'll stiffen it up. If their stool is hard, and you need to get it loosened up a little bit, they need to poop, they're a little backed up, give them a little bit of pumpkin. It'll do that too. It works both ways. It doesn't swing one way or the other. It swings both ways. So a little bit of pumpkin. I'm just going to add a teaspoon of that into each one of these pint jars. I'm using pints, wide mouth ball canning book jars. Depending on what jars you use, you're going to get different quantities in each one. Now I have this ball canning jar here and this ball canning jar here are two different heights. They're two different shapes. Same company, they got the same pictures on them, they're just from a different mold, okay? They hold different quantities. Just so you're aware, you're going to have that. Now when you're using a pressure canner and you got jars that are different heights, you want to put all the same height jar. Because I'm doing pints, I can double stack in my pressure canner. I need all the same size jar on the bottom, and then it doesn't matter what size they are on top. The bottom ones, because they're going to sit, they're going to overlap. So they sit and stack like that, okay? So you need them all to be the same size. That way they're not tipping when they're stacked in there, okay? Narrow or regular mouth jars hold different quantity than a wide mouth jar. Even though they're both pint jars, a narrow mouth and a regular mouth, they hold different quantities. Same with your quart jars. Regular mouth and wide mouth hold different quantities. The wide mouths always seem to hold less, okay? The regular mouths always hold more. We're moving away from quarts because quart jars are harder to get everything out of, just because they're so deep. I don't have a lot of long spoons available, and it's easier to have less stuff in the fridge with pints, because Watson gets a whole pint for breakfast and a whole pint for dinner, so that jar doesn't, there's not a half a jar sitting in the fridge for him. And the girls get a quarter of a pint for breakfast each and a quarter of a pint for breakfast or for dinner each. So, I mean a half a pint. So they each get a half a pint each for breakfast and a half for dinner, okay? That means for 1 pint for breakfast for Callie and Basil, this goes in the sink, gets washed, doesn't sit in the fridge. Watson gets a full one of these for breakfast and dinner. It doesn't sit in the fridge half empty. So, and they're easier to dig stuff out of. Wide mouths are easier to clean. I got big hands. My better half has not big hands, but she doesn't have infant hands. Okay, I don't even think my 13-year-old son can get his hand in that. So, and he doesn't have big hands yet. So that's what I got going on. What else you're going to need? You're going to need some sort of mixing weighing container. This old plastic, it is a Tupperware mix-in store. Okay, it's an old one. It's plastic. Tupperware mix-in store is what it says on the bottom. It's a measuring cup. So it is a 8-cup measuring cup. You're going to need a scale. Turn your scale on. I do it in grams. So it's at grams. I'm going to put my deal on there. This thing weighs about 167 grams. I'm going to zero that out. Okay. Now, I don't care if this spoon touches everything because this is all dog food stuff. So I'm going to use it for the meat, the vegetables, and the rice. Pint jars, wide mouth pints. For the meat, I do 230 to 240 grams of meat per wide mouth pint. Okay, that's 215. That's 230 right there. Okay, it's about a half a pound. Okay, it's right close to a half a pound. 230 grams of meat. Now I zero that out again. Leave everything in there. And I do about 55 grams of rice. That's 56, close enough. And then I do 55 grams of vegetables and fruits. There's apples in here too. This might have a few pears in it also. Strawberries, bananas, blueberries. Those are all really good in here too. So I put my meat in, 230 grams, zeroed it. I put 56 grams of rice in there. I try to keep it right around 55. I'm going to do another 55 grams of the vegetable and fruit mix. And this is going to bring me, because I'm not zeroing it after the rice, it's going to bring me to about 110 grams total. There's 110 grams, all right? So now I got that. I'm going to take this off my scale. I'm going to put a teaspoon of pumpkin in there. Okay. I'm going to take these eggshells and I'm just going to sprinkle about a half a teaspoon in there, okay? Now I'm going to mix this up. Now I wouldn't really have to mix this because it's just going to one dog, but I got to mix it for the other ones. So I just want to, it's just habit, I just mix it. All right, then you get yourself one of these canning funnels. Look at that, it sits right on there. How nifty. Okay, canning funnel. What's really nice about this Tupperware mixing stores is it's got a handle and a pour spout. Look at that, you can just spoon it right into the funnel. You're not trying to tip a bowl all the way upside down. Look into it, standing on your head. We did that the first time. That was not fun. All right. Now, just pack it in there. I don't care about the air bubbles, the air pockets. That's not any concern to me. Okay. What is a concern is having too much in here. That concerns me if I have too much. All right. Can you see about how, you know, I'm right up to the bottom of the ring. It's about 3/4 headspace, 1 inch headspace. A little bit more is better. All right. More headspace is a lot better in this because I didn't trim a lot of the fat off. The fat is going to expand when this cooks, liquefy, and it's going to come out. Now, what happens is when it comes out is, you see how like scuzzy this is around the side here? That's the fat. Now, it can come off. You really got to scrub at it. It's not going to hurt anything. I'm going to put it back in the canner. It just came out of the dishwasher like that. Yes, I could have a better dishwasher. Yes, I could use a different dishwashing detergent, but I'm not worried about that. So, see, this is the only thing I have an issue with the dishwasher and the detergent that we use, is just with the dog food jars from that fat. So, I got that on there. I'm going to set that to the side. Now, I can do, in my pressure canner, I can do about 16, I can do 16 pint wide mouth jars at one shot. Okay, that's only 8 days of food for Watson, by the way. And it takes about 2.5 hours to do that, just on the stove. Okay, so time consuming. But now, being as I zeroed this when I did the meat, I put that back on. It says 230, a negative 230, excuse me. Now I just put meat in here until it says 0. All right, and then I don't have to hit any 0 buttons anymore. I don't have to mess with that. I just got to pay attention to what step I'm on. All right, make it simple on yourself. And there we are, 1. I can handle 1. All right, and we're going to do about 55 grams of that rice. There we are, 57 is close enough, and about a 55 of this, so we want to get to about 110. No, darn, we're at 116. Okay, so off the scale, put a half a teaspoon eggshells for calcium, a teaspoon of pumpkin, mix that baby up. Now, it doesn't have to be mixed so it's completely blended or anything. If your rice is more damp, if you got it wet like I did when I thawed everything out, it's a lot nicer to work with. Rice that's all clumped up, and it's just harder. And kind of sucks, which you'll see that here maybe in a little bit, because I had to make extra rice. I made that last night and it's been in the fridge. So I just pack that in there. I don't worry about bubbles, air pockets. That's not a concern. And we're about an inch of headspace. Lid, ring. Moving on to the next one. 230 grams. Add a negative. Let's get her to 0. Oh, dropped a piece of meat. Porcupine's running away. Jeez. I don't know if this porcupine's going to make it very far. There, we're at 1 gram again. Perfect, same as last time. 55. 57, it's close. We want to get another 55 vegetables and fruits, so up to 110. Now we hit 116 again. Oh, darn. Okay, half a teaspoon eggshells, teaspoon of pumpkin, and back to mixing. This part doesn't really take that long. Usually what I do is I'll start this in the morning. I can get about 4 batches in a day through the pressure cooker canner. If I start about 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, I'll cut up enough meat, if I don't already have it cut, to do one batch in the canner, and I'll get the canner fired up and going, so I'll kind of switch gears. And then while that's going, I'll start cutting up more. That way I got the canners running for that first batch as fast as possible, because that's the name of the game, is speed, because we don't want to waste all of our time. Otherwise it's more efficient to go to work, make money, buy dog food. So, but this gets me out in the woods more, gets the dogs out in the woods more. They really like that. Hoping to get some footage of them little twerps out bird hunting this year. So, ooh, way too much. We'll take one more chunk out of there. There we go. Just be Watson's first year. Like I said, he just turned 1 last week. I got him out opening day 2 weekends ago, 2 Saturdays ago, and he did really good. And that's good because I didn't spend a lot of time with training him, which is my problem. It's my fault. It's just been, we got him right before Thanksgiving last year, and it's just been crazy hectic with the business. And it's just me and my brother, and it's all we can do to keep up. So Watson's lost out on that, which isn't right, but I got to deal with it. I got to get it working, get it fixed up. So, but he did awesome. We flushed 9 grouse in, I'd say, about 6 hours. Yeah, 9 grouse in about 6 hours. We shot our 5. We got a limit. That's the first time on opening day that I have ever shot a limit of birds. So that was pretty sweet. I did have both Basil and Watson out there, so it wasn't just Watson that did all the work, but it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun watching him do his thing, figure it out, and I think he's going to be really good. So just from that day, we went out then again because I had trying to find a porcupine for dog food because I ran out of beaver, and I knew where there was one from the walks that we were taking this spring, and we went down that trail on Thursday, and we didn't find him, but I walked 4.5 miles on that trail, and the dogs did, I don't know, I want to say they did 30, but I know that's probably a little much. But they probably did 20, at least. And they flushed 9 birds again in 4.5 miles on one trail. And I missed. I got one shot off and I missed. Still too many leaves on the trees. Can't hardly see anything. So they're doing great. The dogs are doing awesome. Basil, this is her 3rd year. It's Watson's 1st. Callie's too old to go anymore, so we just don't. We don't let her come if she doesn't want to. If it's going to be a long day, she stays at home because I don't want her getting hurt. But yeah, no, it's been good. It's been a lot of fun. That's why I do this. That's why I'm doing this right now. Is because of them, because of the enjoyment I get out of going with them. And hopefully you guys have the same thing going on with yours. That's why you're watching, because you're trying to do better for them. That way you can enjoy that time as much as possible. So it will go away, unfortunately. That's the problem. So, all right. Well, I've already got. This is number 6. So, like I said, this doesn't take too long. And I gotta get 10 more after this one, and then we can fire up the pressure cooker and get them canned. That way I don't get yelled at in the morning because I am out of dog food right now, and I think Basil would about kill me if she didn't get her wet food now that I created this monster. So, all right, I'm gonna get this done. Then I'll show you guys when we get back to canner. See you in a few. So, we got all the porcupine done for Watson. Now I gotta get 8 of these bad boys done for the girlies, and then I'll run a batch tonight yet. It's getting late. It's gonna take a while. I'm not gonna be done until 1 o'clock or so in the morning, which, whatever. It's another day in paradise, right? So that porcupine as an adult individual, fully grown, probably about as big as they're going to get. That was a big one. Yielded, now I took everything I could within reason off that animal, and I got 12 pints. And if it comes out to roughly a half a pound of meat into a pint, I only got 6 pounds of meat off of that animal. Need a lot of porcupines for the old Watson. That's 12. That's only 6 days. Okay, or no, I got 13. Sorry, 13. I got 6.5 days. I got 6.5 pounds out of there. So he eats a pound of meat, fresh meat, a day. That doesn't seem like a lot, but it is a lot. It's a lot. When you got to make the food, you're trying to figure it out, it's a lot. But if you can see over here, I don't know if you paid much attention to the other bowl of the porcupine. It was a lot smaller and there's a lot less in there. I got about 45 minutes to an hour into cutting that porcupine up for 6.5 pounds of porcupine. I have an hour into cutting up that deer rib cage and the front section of the neck from the rib cage to the back of the head. So it's at it was a foot or so. I think that's what that was. And then 16 inches. So 16 inches of neck, and I had about 8 inches from behind the rib cage of the backbone where the chops and the loins are. I had that to cut up in an hour and 15 minutes. I yielded over 20 pounds of meat out of that deer. So the deer is by far the best bang for your time, at least in my case. Beaver get a lot bigger than porcupines, so I get quite a bit more out of them, and plus I get the hides and stuff too when they're in season, and so that helps out, kind of offset if you can find a buyer that cost. Running around trying to get it, all this other stuff, the pumpkin. Well, the pumpkin I had because Watson, when we went camping, decided he was going to eat something he shouldn't have ate, and he got super sick. And the doctor said to give him some pumpkin and rice to get him back to normal. And then ground chicken or turkey, a little bit at a time. Start giving them some protein, and then we can put them back on what we had been feeding them. So that's why I got all this pumpkin. It wasn't just for this. It's good for them. It's what the vet recommends. That's what the dog gets. But anyways, the deer, the venison, the larger game animals, they take less time to process, probably because I've been doing it for the last, I don't know, what am I, 35 now? So 15, 20, 25. I've been doing it consistently every year for 25 years. And there's pictures of me when I was 3 and 4 years old helping my dad cut deer up. I had a butter knife. I didn't have a real knife, so don't get on my case about that. But I did have blood all the way up to my elbows, probably behind my ears too. So, good times. Look at what I created. But I know my way around taking the meat off a deer a lot better than I know my way around taking the meat off a porcupine or a beaver. Same concept. The beaver and the porcupine are smaller. Everything's tighter knit. That's where the grinder would come in handy. I would waste a lot less. And with the deer carcass, the bones and everything, I'd grind all that stuff up too. So I wouldn't be wasting anything. The key here is to have the minimum waste of everything that we harvest. Utilize all of it. So I got 6 more of these venison ones to do for the girls, and then we'll jump over to the canner. All right, let's get after it. Okay, so we used all that rice up. Now, like I was telling you, that rice was a lot easier to deal with because it was kind of damp and whatnot. Here's the rice I just made last night and prep for this. I put it in the fridge. It's dried out. The best way that I have found to break this up so it's not such a pain in the butt is with a serving fork. Big heavy duty guy. All right, usually I have it covered. It doesn't dry out, so it doesn't do this, but it's crusty on top. So usually what you can do is you can just use it like a rake and just rake it right through, and it'll just break it all up for you. The only thing is when pull a bonehead move like I did and just cover it and it's dry, it's really stuck together and it really flakes and shoots everywhere. So my tip of the day is a serving fork to fluff the rice. Okay, works really good. Use it like a rake. Drag those tines through there. You're going to want to use a good heavy-duty fork. Don't use a plastic anything. You're probably not going to want to use an eating fork, a dinner fork type thing. You need a good heavy-duty serving fork to do it. You can get it at Walmart for probably $1 or the dollar store, wherever you want to shop. But look at that. Now I got good loose rice. It's going to be a lot easier. So that's what it's about. Easy. Easy peasy lemon squeezy, right? That's what my dad used to say. So, all right. Moving on. So, got the first batch in. I got Watson's porcupine at the bottom, 8 pints. I got 8 pints stacked, not directly on top of the other ones. They're resting on the edges, so the top ones are sitting on 2 bottom ones. 16 wide mouth pints in there. All right, this is a Presto brand pressure canner, pressure cooker. Lid's locked on. I have natural gas here for my stove. I turn it to about medium high to start. See, flames on, canner centered. Now what we're going to do is just wait for steam to come out of this orifice here, this vent. Steam will come out there. Once it starts to come out, wait 10 minutes. Got 10 minutes of steam coming out of this. Then we put this on that, and then the pressure will come up. Now in my area, the pressure's got to be at, there's Callie, 11 pounds, 11 per square inch, so 11 psi. It's Watson. Basil's on the couch. She's just drama queen right there. There she is. Where's my little Basil? Little peanut. No, there's their blanket. Watson's pillow. He's got everything everywhere. What are you doing, Watson? What a goofball. You're such a moose. He's just a big klutz. Anyways, like I was saying, 11 psi for 90 minutes, so an hour and a half, 90 minutes at 11 psi. If it drops below 11 psi, anytime in there, 89 and a half minutes, you're supposed to start over from 0 and do another 90 minutes. It's to kill the bacteria, is what it is. This is what it's all designed for, is to kill the bacteria. The food is cooked, more than cooked. I know some people can meat in the oven. That's not a safe way to do it. Just to get, if you're looking for it for the shelf life, canning it in the oven is not the way to do it. Pressure canning is the only way to go to make sure for food safety. Okay, I know this is going to the dogs. I don't have to worry about the shelf life because it's going to be gone before the month's over. I'm not looking to get 6, 7, 8, 10 months, 12 months out of it. I'm looking for health, safety for my dogs. This is what I'm doing. Okay, so I still got a lot of venison left. I got more vegetables thawing out, so I can keep going here. I had opened another can of pumpkin, and yeah, so we're just gonna keep rocking through. I get this stuff canned up. Obviously, I'm only gonna get one batch done tonight because it's just been hectic. It's already 9:45 this evening. It is only Tuesday evening, so I do have to work tomorrow. Unfortunately, we're putting sheeting on a roof. So I will have to get some sleep so I don't make stupid decisions tomorrow because I'm tired. It takes about 3 hours, so it's going to be 1 o'clock or so before that's done. The reason it takes 3 hours is it's going to take me about a half hour or so just to get it to temperature and pressure. Okay. Then it's going to take 90 minutes once I get to pressure to cook it so it's safe. And then it's going to be 45 minutes is about what it takes. Once it's done cooking and you shut it off, you have to wait for the pressure to get down to 0 before you can remove the weight off of the vent. And that's about 45 minutes for the pressure to get down to 0 before you can remove the weight off the vent. That cooling time is for sealing. They'll start to seal during that cooling time. But if you open it too quick, the jars can break. You know, you're changing that pressure difference too fast. It's got to slowly do it. Okay. 45 minutes is about what it takes. So now I'm up to 2 hours and 45 minutes. Then you take the vent off, and you have to wait a minimum of 10 minutes once you take the vent weight off before you can open the lid. Well, now I'm at 2 hours and 55 minutes. It's about 3 hours. At the 2 hour mark, once it's done cooking and I shut everything off, I can be done at that point. I don't have to do anything with it until the morning, if I so choose. But yeah, I have to get it cooked all the way before I can be done. So I got a minimum of 2 hours. I'll probably be up to 3 anyways, and just finish it and clean up some of this mess. So I'm going to keep canning, filling jars. I'm going to have to get down to the regular mouths. Kaya's not going to be happy with me, but at least they're pints and not quarts. So I got, what do I got here? 6. I got 8 more wide mouth pints to do, and then we're on to regular mouth pints. So let's get this canned up, because once I'm canned, I can stick these in the fridge, and then I can just run a batch tomorrow after work. So that's what we're going to do. That's the plan. Let's get after it.